On today's episode, we are going to cover engine motor mounts and why you should consider installing some in your car. If you haven't been able to tell already, these are AWR engine mounts. Why are we installing these in the car, Stefan? What are the benefits for the track car?
So there's actually multiple benefits to these. I've never seen it on a dyno, but engine movement due to rotation of soft mounts can cause power loss out the back end. It can cause you to miss shifts, like third gear, Cam. It can cause you to miss shifts because the engine's torquing around. So 95 durometer is not something I would run on a street car. It's going to rattle our teeth apart. But for a track car where you're all but welding the engine to the chassis, it's the right answer. It keeps everything more solid, and it'll pair up perfectly with our Delrin diff mounts that we have.
For sure. So this is really going to help with that drivetrain loss, or should I say preventing that drivetrain loss. Now, what specifically do you like about these mounts?
So there's a couple things that make these sweet. First of all, the welds, butter, absolute butter. They are technically three-piece, so the bushing can be removed. If we drive at 95 and we hate it, we can pop the bushings out and put 85, 70, and 62 durometer bushings in it to kind of tone down the NVH. When you put these in the car, you separate them. This rotational bit and this upper half, which bolts the block, and then as it comes down into the chassis, you slide this longer bolt through, and it makes putting the engines in the car very simple. As opposed to the regular factory mounts where you're like twisting and bending the motor around to try and get it to pop in. These make engine installs way easier, and they look sick. I mean, like, we'll show you later, but they look right at home on a nice engine like this one. So there's a lot of benefits, and it's just a super nice product.
Great. So I'm going to get behind the camera, and we'll follow stuff along with the install and end with this engine in the car.
So the first step, which is the easy step, is just bolting this entire plate onto the engine. I'm going to leave this on until we're ready to put it in, that way I don't lose any hardware. The NB2, so 01 to 05 engine mounts have this extra wing, and that bolts up down here onto the oil pan. I'm not entirely sure what benefit it adds. I'm pretty sure it just ties everything together better. So next up, let's throw these on. So you want to get them all started loose. Otherwise, once you tighten it up, they're not going to fit. And then torque spec. So we have a couple more steps before this actually goes in the car, but to show you what we're going to do is we'll slide this long cross bolt out, and then this unhooks, and this is what you'll put in manually, and then you'll hook it up to the engine mount when it's in the car.
So that's how it goes in.
One side stays on. Huh? Well, I think. I'm not sure. We'll see that when we're putting it in.
Well, that was easy?
Yeah, we kind of screwed ourselves with the header. We installed the header ahead of time. It's a Raceland, so it doesn't fit great. If you didn't have the header in, that thing would have slammed right in. So
yeah,
still way easier than OEM engine mounts, that's for sure.
What do we do during install? We left one side off, right?
Yeah, so we put the passenger side on because it's tough to get under the intake manifold, and we use that to align it. So you drop that pocket in first, just hand thread the nut on, and then you jack up the other side of the engine, and it gives you room to slide the other lower half like we separated earlier. It lets you slide that in, and then you can lower the engine back in and slide the nut through.
We're kind of cheating with how little is in the bay for how easy it was, but I would be safe to say that this is much easier.
I've installed these in like Cam's car, which is full power steering, all sorts of stuff. My couple cars ago, I had the same mounts in my car, and it was not stripped like this, and it still made the job infinitely easier.
That alone is motivation to pick something like this up for sure.
Easier to install. They look awesome, and it helps make the car better on track or on the street if you get the lower durometer mounts. There's really no downsides to these things.
Now, there's a limited time offer on this code. This is our first code. Guys, we're partnered with them, right? And we've got a code. It's like NAPPMOTO.
Yes,
you can get a discount,
we'll
right?
Put the code right here. It is actually not limited time, so you can use the code whenever. But if you order today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, and I believe Monday, we'll put the dates right here. Not only do you get 10% off, but you also get a free shirt. So definitely use that code. And then if you're watching this after Black Friday, Cyber Monday, use the code still.
Yeah.
And hopefully it still works, but we don't have an end date.
This is kind of a new territory for us with partnership with AWR. So we're excited.
Big thank you to AWR for actually coming on board with us. So that was big.
For sure.
Love that.
Check out our episode Saturday going over the track car build and follow along for that as well. So stay tuned, subscribe down below, and yeah, we're just kicking this off. We're just kicking this season off with track car stuff. Is that what you did? Oh my god.
No, when he put it up, when he said it, I was like, engine, motor, mounts.
That's awesome.